So when to use calculate function alone and when are you going to wrap it up with filter function? What if your interviewer wants to check your understanding a little deeper? She might ask this as well. So what are you going to answer in this case? You are going to explain her few rules of thumb. If we have simple conditions to pass, we are going to use calculate function alone. But as the conditions get complicated, we are going to use calculate plus filter. For example, if you have simple Boolean conditions, like you wanted to calculate sum of sales of South region, you can do this without filter function as well. You're just going to write this formula which will look like somewhere calculate, and you'll write the expression, and then you are going to pass the condition which will look like region is equal to south, and you will get your result. So there no need to use filter function. But as the conditions get complicated, if you have watched my last video, you must have noticed that I used an example that what if you wanted to calculate the sums where the individual sales are greater than the average sales. Okay, in that case, you cannot just use calculate function. So what are you going to do? You are going to first filter out an imaginary backend table with the help of filter function, where you'll write filter function and then you'll pass the table, and after that you will pass the condition that you wanted to apply. In our example, the condition is sales is greater than average sales. And after that, this filter function will be wrapped inside the calculate. Now you'll write the calculate function and then expression, and then in the filter argument you are going to pass this whole filter that you have just written. This will work perfectly without any error. Now what was the reason that you had to use filter function? Here, if you notice, we are calculating average in the formula itself. Now, does calculate allow you to perform any kind of calculation in filter only? No, it will create a problem. Second example, if you have multiple conditions to apply, then also it's suggested to use filter function for a clear result. Suppose you wanted to calculate the sum of South region or East region. These two conditions to be filtered, and then the sum should happen. In this condition, I would suggest you to use filter function as well. Third example, if you have a table where you have 3 columns, now you want to calculate sum of only those sales where quantity into price should be greater than 10,000. Now what's happening here? You want to perform an extra calculation. If you want to perform any extra calculation, you can use filter function. So how will you pass? You will write the filter condition and then you will pass the table. Maybe the table name is sales, and then you are going to write this condition, which is quantity into price greater than 10,000. And now this filter function will be wrapped inside the calculate, where you're going to sum the sales. So the bottom line is when to use calculate plus filter: when your formula involves measures, when it involves multiple columns, when it performs calculation in the formula only, or when you have multiple conditions to apply, when you have row context kinds of filters to apply. In these kinds of cases, you are going to wrap filter plus calculate and not alone calculate. That was it. If you have any doubt, we can meet in the comment section.